Welcome to the training for the Introduction to Cybersecurity Awareness. There are 7 parts to this training session, beginning with an overview of cybersecurity. The Cybersecurity Initiative began with a presidential executive order calling for expanded security for all aspects of the critical infrastructure of the United States. This brings up the question, what is protected information? In general, data to be protected is anything that might be useful to a hacker or damaging to a client. This includes any personally identifiable individual, medical, or financial information. In general, protected individual information, or PII, is anything that can be used to identify an individual, from name to email address. The current list includes 18 items. As new forms of personally identifiable information evolve, it can be expected that this list of 18 items will expand accordingly. It is worth noting that both vehicle information and personal images are on the list of PII. The next consideration is what is included in security awareness training. Basic security awareness training is required of all individuals with access to protected information. Managers, technical staff, and advanced users may require additional training. This security awareness program is closely based on the recommendations and protocols of the National Institutes for Standards and Technology, or NIST. Since 1996, the NIST has been assigned to define information security for all sensitive but non-classified data in the federal system. Federal regulators call the NIST protocols the industry standard for protecting information. All associates handling sensitive information have a responsibility to protect that information. There are 25 security safeguards that need to be followed by associates under the NIST information security protocols. Failure to follow these precautions can result in the unauthorized release of protected information and damage to clients. Security training for associates includes review of each of the 25 initial safeguards. The 25 safeguards are divided by the NIST into 11 groups or families. Each group has a group definition, followed by a summary of the safeguard and recommendations on how to carry out the safeguard. Access is the ability to read, modify, and save protected information. Access control includes the specific safeguards to restrict access only to authorized persons. The access control policy must be distributed to all associates with access to protected information. Current best practice is to use 12-character or longer passwords that cannot be shared. AC-17 is access control for remote access. Best practice is to allow remote access, if at all, only through secure channels like HTTPS or VPN. All remote access connections should pass through an IDS. The organization needs a guidance policy for all portable and mobile devices, from phones to thumb drives. At a minimum, all mobile or portable devices should be encrypted. There should be no exceptions. Security awareness involves being mindful of how unintended user actions can cause major problems. Human error is one of the 4 main causes of unauthorized release of protected information. All computer users need security awareness training before they receive access to protected information. Training must be updated at least annually and whenever changes are made to the information system. Different data systems are subject to different threats. The security awareness training materials should be based on threats to the specific system, rules of use, and group security policies. Certification is a group approval of a program. Organizations should control all connections to the networks handling protected information. Formal connection agreements should be reviewed annually. A configuration plan is a strategy document that details the intentions and strategy of an organization. Part of a configuration strategy is to design the network to provide only the essential capabilities needed for operations. Additional capability creates additional vulnerability. It is necessary to create a list of disabled or restricted ports and services. A contingency plan is a prearranged strategy and procedure for dealing with a physical disaster. A flood is no time to be looking for the electrical shutoff. Training is a necessity for a contingency plan. This should include all personnel with access to PHI. Training should happen every year. There are computer programs which can realistically imitate an actual emergency. Contingency plan training is not a trivial task and may take a full day or even longer. Depending on turnover, it may be necessary to train subgroups such as communications managers or power system technicians more than once a year. Backups need to be done at both the user and system levels. Backups must be stored at a secure remote location. Do not store backups on top of the local server. Best practices involve securing backups off-site. One of the best and least expensive off-site backups is a safety deposit box. It is literally as safe as a bank. A good alternative is online backup, which allows incremental backups more than once per day. It is tempting to avoid the hassles of testing the information system recovery program. That failure to test can have tragic results. While modern backup systems are increasingly reliable, they can still have unexpected problems. Inability to restore a database can destroy a medical practice. For extra reliability, consider redundant systems. With a tremendous fall in the price of hardware, dual or quad servers can be cheap insurance. User identification and authentication separates the sheep from the goats, or the authorized users from the hackers. There should be no access without user authentication. Authentication can use passwords, tokens, biometrics, or a variety of combinations of methods. At a minimum, strong passwords are required. Biometrics are increasingly cost-effective and hard to defeat. Authentication of authorized devices as well as users adds a substantial extra layer of protection to system security. As with a disaster, a security incident is no time to figure out who to call and what their number is. All users need to know their task in a security event, even if it is only standing by. An incident response policy needs to be updated at least annually and given to all associates. The policy must state objectives, responsible parties, and assigned tasks. Like emergency response, incident response procedures require training at least annually. Maximum realism yields maximum training value. Every year, the incident response plan needs to be tested in as realistic a manner possible. All associates need to be briefed on the results of the tests. If at all possible, incident response testing should be on a day when clients are not present. The incident handling plan needs to include preparation, containment, and recovery procedures. Incident handling procedures will typically include a short manual with incident reporting forms. Lost media, thumb drives, laptops, backup tapes, etc., are a major source of information breaches. The organization needs to write a media protection policy that is given to all associates and is updated at least annually. Media protection strategies need to involve controlled access, ensured destruction, and strong encryption. Media access needs to be restricted to authorized users who have met all of the access control requirements. Unless guards are available for access control, the group will need to use automated security control systems. The access control devices need to record all access events for later audit. The pickup, receipt, transfer, and delivery of media must be restricted to authorized personnel only. This includes voicemail, which may pose special problems. Transport of unencrypted media should be avoided. Delivery should be hand-to-hand between authorized persons. Media should never be left for pickup. Numerous cases of unauthorized data loss have been traced to ineffectively destroyed or sanitized media, especially hard drives. Note that hard drives are now commonly found in copiers and printers, as well as workstations. Sanitization of hard drives requires special software and procedures. The NSA keeps a list of approved products for this use. Physical access to PHI is a very common source of information loss. A Boston hospital was fined $1 million after an employee left a stack of medical records on a train. Furniture must be arranged to make it impossible for persons in walkways to read data on computer screens. The risk assessment program should have a clearly stated objective. Risk assessment should clearly define the consequences of unauthorized actions. Risk assessment needs to follow a recognized protocol like NIST 800-30 in order to ensure systematic review of system weaknesses and vulnerabilities to attack. The cybersecurity framework requires sensitive information to be protected from loss, theft, corruption, or destruction. Flaw remediation requires prompt correction of system flaws and vulnerabilities that are found during security assessments. Virus and malware protection is critical for operations handling sensitive information. Security alerts should be provided to all associates on a weekly basis. Information security requires constant vigilance. Testing is the last part of this security awareness training program. Credentials to access the test site will come from your designated testing manager. Go to the web page designated by your testing manager. Click on the line Exam Participants, click here. Enter the username and password you received from your testing manager. Use your mouse to select answers on the multiple choice test. For more information, contact your testing manager or one of the individuals shown on this slide. Thank you for taking our training.